Good morning. My name is Lene Palmisano. I'm the Vice President of the Minneapolis City Council, and I'm going to call to order this regular meeting for Thursday, June 15th. This morning, we have three resolutions to present right at the start. We'll do that before taking up our regular orders of business. The first one is Immigrant Heritage Month, World Refugee Day, and Caribbean American Heritage Month honorary resolution. That will be presented by my colleague, Councilmember Chavez. Great.
Hello. Awesome. Hi, everyone. My name is Jason Chavez, council member of the 9th Ward, and I'm joined with my colleagues, Councilmember Chuck Tai and Councilmember Osman, and we are honored to be recognizing Immigrant Heritage Month and World Refugee Day and Caribbean American Heritage Month in the city of Minneapolis with our amazing city staff here today. We are joined by Naweed, Justo, Nareen, and Director Michelle Rivero, and I just want to thank them all for the work they did to work hard on this resolution that we're reading today, along with Tate, who is not here today, and for your dedication to the city of Minneapolis. I'm proud of the work that the Office of Immigrant and Refugee Affairs is leading on, from expanding our immigration services to the launch of the naturalization loan program coming out this week, and the resources for new arrivals, along with the beautiful events that we all attend and are very proud of as a city. And as an elected official that will vote in favor of this today, it's clear that we need to support this resolution and this office. I look forward to our budget debates in the coming months on ways we can expand this office to allocate more resources for desperate needed programs that we know they support and we can be proudly support them on, and how we can truly support our city staff here in the city of Minneapolis. Now, we'll begin. Recognizing Immigrant Heritage Month, World Refugee Day, and Caribbean American Heritage Month in the city of Minneapolis. Whereas the United States is a country that has always experienced tension around its identity as a nation of immigrants and refugees. And whereas while people from around the world come to the United States to seek opportunity, refuge, and a better life, many find instead of the American dream a life of struggle, hardship, and a feeling that they are not wanted. It is important to recognize that it is truly part of the American experience. And whereas generations of immigrants and refugees have escaped lives they know back home, risked the unknown, have made sometimes almost impossible sacrifice to live in this country, and once here have built lives, sometimes from nothing, in a society completely different from all they know. And I'll pass it on to Councilmember.
And whereas the experience of immigrants and refugees and their descendants, including Caribbean American, are an important part of the history and character of the United States. They have helped define American as a nation of limitless possibilities, and their challenges and faith demonstrate their own tendency, as well as the ways which we as a nation can do more to create a society where all truly feel welcome and can achieve successful. And whereas immigrants and refugees, like other humans in our society, fuel American economy by creating new businesses, generating millions of jobs, experiencing tremendous strength and resilience, and being presented in every area of human endeavor, including medicine, healthcare, hospitality, public service, construction, law, education, engineering, caregiving, manufacturing, services, agriculture, and more.
And whereas immigrants and refugees and their descendants, including Caribbean Americans, also enrich our lives through traditions, customs, and perspectives that keep our nation and our city dynamic, and also demonstrate a commitment to resettlement service, relying on their own lived experience to help welcome newcomers to our city, state, and country. And whereas in the city of Minneapolis, over 63,000 people identify as immigrants and refugees, not including the descendants of immigrants and refugees. Furthermore, in the Twin Cities area, over 200,000 children or 1 in 4 children have an immigrant parent, and over 100 languages are spoken by families and children enrolled in Minneapolis public schools, all testaments to the truly global nature of our society.
And whereas the month of June is recognized as National Immigrant Heritage Month and Caribbean Heritage Month, and June 20 is recognized as World Refugee Day. Occasions to honor and recognize the significant contributions of these communities and their individuals member here in the United States and in the society, in the city of Minneapolis. And whereas the city of Minneapolis is a welcoming city, one that supports residents achieving life and safety, dignity, and opportunity through supporting civic engagement, entrepreneurial activity, employment opportunities with upward mobility, including employment with the city of Minneapolis, protecting from discrimination, and opportunities to achieve more secure immigration status up to including United States citizenship. And whereas advancing a truly inclusive society depends upon multi-sectoral and multi-districtional partnership.
And whereas dedicated welcoming support through these methods, as well as through having committed individuals on the ground and actively engaged in providing resources, referral, and assistance to newcomers, ensure continuity, stability, and commitment in welcoming a new generation of newcomers to the city of Minneapolis. And whereas while American society and our own city of Minneapolis is full of kind, generous, and welcoming people who embrace newcomers with open arms, it is also true that immigrant and refugee residents and their descendants experience harm that is motivated by hatred and are target for acts of discrimination and violence, up to and including death. And
whereas it is incumbent for all who believe in a society where all persons are judged on their ability and contributions and not on their ethnicity or national origin to take action to ensure that immigrants and refugees are not subjected to harm and actions motivated by hatred and bias. And whereas federal immigration laws restricting or preventing access to immigration status and the ability to earn a living in the United States, and state laws that restrict freedom of movement based upon immigration status or lack thereof are antithetical to the history and promise of our nation. And whereas, in light of a present and a future that includes war, political strife, persecutory laws, and policies, including in our own United States of America, natural disasters, and the impacts of climate change, it is important to solidify and strengthen infrastructure at the federal, state, and local level to welcome newcomers, including newcomers from other parts of our own country, experiencing or fearing persecution, as these efforts strengthen our communities and our city.
Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Mayor and City Council do hereby celebrate Immigrant Heritage Month, World Refugee Day, and Caribbean American Heritage Month in the city of Minneapolis. We recognize the importance of immigrants and refugees and their descendants, including Caribbean Americans, in our city, state, and country, and the commitment of the city of Minneapolis as a welcoming city that works to foster a sense of belonging in its residents. That we further encourage residents of the city of Minneapolis to recognize and observe these opportunities to celebrate, learn, and share information about the history and contributions of immigrants and refugees and their descendants, including Caribbean Americans, to our city, state, and nation.
Thank you. Now we're going to pass it to Justo and then Naweed, who are also going to say a few words.
Well, first I want to say thank you. thank you to the City Council for this opportunity and for really this resolution that reflect what the City of Minneapolis it's been working through the through the years actually, and the idea is that with new challenge we just do better. Sometimes things out of the box, and then just try to help and accommodate and honor our commitment to welcoming city. I'm just gonna read. This is a little essay of one of our colleagues who could not be here, who was instrumental in writing this. Her name is Tate Nugent. His name. She uses the pronoun he, they pronouns, and I am support specialist in the Department of Neighborhood and Community Relations. I'm a second-generation immigrant of two hard-working Vietnamese people who came to America for a better life. My story is not unique, as millions have also made the journey to call United States home. They have contributed to the rich tapestry of American history, creating businesses, helping lead the world with their contributions in science, technology, and innovation, and have brought their rich customs, traditions, and perspective that strengthen our city and our country. As the United States country serve as refugee, a new beginning for people all over the world, we must do our part to ensure that they thrive in calling their new home truly home. I am part of the City of Minneapolis Refugee and Immigrant Employee Affinity Group, a group of the City of Minneapolis who are eager to support elect, including council members and staff, in developing welcoming strategies that positively impact our immigrants and refugee community members and employees community. We are also thankful in being in the state of Minnesota and the city of Minneapolis. Let us continue to lead in making our home a welcoming destination for all. We would also like to extend our gratitude to the City Council, city leadership, and the staff for keeping all of our communities in the forefront and giving us opportunity to thrive. The immigrant and refugee community look forward to working more with the City Council and city staff to serve our community.
Good morning, Council President Jenkins and Council member. My name is Naveed Roy, and I am the Afghan Evacuee Employment Coordinator with City of Minneapolis Employment and Training Program at CPET. My role is to connect Afghan job seeker and Afghan community with employment and training program, and to share resources and referral, which means opening doors to a full suite of services. I arrived in US through Operation Ally Welcome in November 2021, and finally resettled to Minneapolis. It is worth mentioning Minnesota has welcomed over 1,200 Afghan evacuees since September 2021. Which means demonstrating our commitment to supporting those in need. Minneapolis Employment and Training Program and the Neighborhood Community Relation actively engage in outreach and offer essential services to the immigrant and refugee community. We extend our appreciation to the City Council, city leadership, and staff for prioritizing our community needs and providing us with opportunity to flourish. I'm part of the Immigrant and Refugee Affinity Group, which consists of individuals committed to assisting elected officials and staff in developing inclusive strategy that benefit our immigrant and refugee residents and employees. The Immigrant and Refugee Resolution is crucial for our City Council, as it recognizes the contribution of immigrant and refugee, uphold human rights, and enhance our community's social fabric. Adopting this resolution demonstrates our commitment to equality, justice, and thriving, inclusive city. I would like to inform the City Council about an upcoming event for the recognition of Immigrant Heritage Month, World Refugee Day, and Caribbean American Heritage Month on Tuesday, June 27. We have a panel conversation called Wisdom of the Elders, where community members will share their insight and some of their renowned proverbs. And last but not the least, the immigrant and refugee community expressed gratitude for the support received from the state of Minnesota and the city of Minneapolis. We encourage the continuous effort to maintain this location as a welcoming destination for all individuals. And thank you.
I want to give a big thank you to our staff for working on behalf of the city and for all the work that you all are doing to support our immigrant and refugee communities here in the city of Minneapolis.
Councilmember, quick picture.
Thank you. Next, we have the 2023 World Sickle Cell Awareness Day honorary resolution that will be presented by Councilmember Ellison and some speakers.
Testing. You guys, all right, sweet. So we got a big group. Yeah, come act like you know. I'm assuming you guys all know each other. All right, thank you for being here. I'm excited to present this resolution. And so I'll read the resolution, and then we're going to have some of you all make some remarks. So, honoring World Sickle Cell Awareness Day in the city of Minneapolis. Whereas sickle cell disease is a group of inherited red blood cell disorders that affect the hemoglobin, the protein that carries oxygen through the body. Individuals with sickle cell disease have red blood cells that are crescent or sickle-shaped instead of soft and round, causing blockages that slow the flow of blood throughout the body. Sickle cells causes severe pain, serious complications such as acute chest syndrome, stroke, and many other problems. And whereas this disease is an inherited blood disorder that disproportionately affects people of African, Caribbean, Middle Eastern, Mediterranean, and Asian origin, in the United States, it's most common among African Americans. And whereas, due to patterns of racial and health inequities in this country, the sickle cell disease population has been marginalized and underrepresented in the realms of research, data collection, education, funding, and access to quality care across the healthcare continuum. And whereas, sickle cell disease is a significant global health problem. In the United States, it is estimated that over 100,000 people have this disease. About 1 in 13 Black or African American babies are born with the sickle cell trait each year in America. And whereas there is a serious need to raise awareness, advocate for systems change, promote research, and collaborate with healthcare professionals to eliminate harmful disparities associated with the disease. And whereas the United Nations has declared June 19th World Sickle Cell Awareness Day. And whereas Michaela Sarai is a 15-year-old living with sickle cell disease and has been hospitalized dozens of times with vaso-occlusive crisis, has had a silent stroke and complications, including acute chest syndrome, pneumonia, and receives regular blood transfusions. Michaela is under evaluation for bone marrow transplant, the only known cure for sickle cell disease, and is reviewing the compatibility of a blood donor match, which is presently unsuccessful. And whereas the Michaela Sarai Foundation, in partnership with local community members, healthcare organizations, and health equity leaders, express commitment to support individuals living with sickle cell disease and their families. And whereas on June 19th, for World Sickle Cell Day, there will be a summer blood drive at 701 Southeast 9th Street in Minneapolis to offer community members the opportunity to donate blood and learn about a series of health literacy events promoting health outcomes while addressing social, economic, and environmental factors that influence health. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Mayor and City Council do hereby honor and recognize June 19th, 2023 as Sickle Cell Awareness Day in the city of Minneapolis, with the goal to increase public knowledge and an understanding of sickle cell disease, as well as the challenges experienced by patients and their families and caregivers. So, thank you all for being here today.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, esteemed City Council, distinguished guests, dedicated healthcare professionals, committed advocates, and brave warriors of sickle cell community. I stand here today deeply humbled and profoundly grateful to accept this prestigious proclamation for World Sickle Cell Day from our beloved city. First, I wish to express my heartfelt appreciation to our Honorable Mayor. Your leadership, empathy, and commitment to addressing public health issues are inspirational. To our respected City Council members, your dedication to the well-being of all of our residents, your tirelessness in creating an inclusive and compassionate community deserves much applause. I want to acknowledge and extend my deepest gratitude to healthcare professionals who work relentlessly towards managing this disease, researching new therapies, and providing comfort to those in pain. To the advocates, the support groups, and nonprofit organizations working tirelessly to increase understanding, providing support, and raising funds for sickle cell disease research, I want to say thank you. Importantly, I want to honor the courage and resilience of all the sickle cell warriors and their families. You are the reason why we gather here today, and this proclamation is a testament to your strength, your bravery, and your unyielded spirit. This proclamation is not just a document, it's a symbol of our collective responsibility to acknowledge, understand, and combat sickle cell disease. It serves as a powerful reminder that while we have come far, we still have a long road to go. In accepting this proclamation, I pledge to continue advocating for improvement, treatments, and funding for research, and equal access to healthcare for those affected by sickle cell disease. Let this proclamation mark the beginning of a renewed commitment from all of us to work together in fighting this disease. Together we can make a difference. Thank you once again for this honor and for standing in solidarity with sickle cell community. Your recognition marks a significant step towards a future of increased understanding and support. Thank you. Okay, so this is Michaela Sarai, and she's a 15-year-old sickle cell warrior. And all of the sentiments, she's here and she's very appreciative, and we can tell because she's, crying, and that shows a sense of support and thankfulness. So I'll let Michaela to say a few words. Michaela?
It's an incredible honor and pledge to stand before you today as a young ambassador for sickle cell disease, representing the brave and resilient community I am a part of. With a heart filled with gratitude, I accept this meaningful proclamation recognizing World Sickle Cell Day from our cherished city. Thank you.
And then let's take a group photo real quick. All right, squeeze together. Yeah. Yeah. Good. All right. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Great. All right. Thank you, Dom. Okay, stay there. Oh, one more. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Thank you. Third, we have the 2023 Juneteenth honorary resolution. That would be presented by Councilmember Vita to read the resolution. Please.
Thank you. Today, we're just going to read off an honorary resolution recognizing the national holiday of Juneteenth in the city of Minneapolis. Thank you to my colleagues for joining me. I'm just going to start on the floor.
Honoring and recognizing the national holiday of Juneteenth in the city of Minneapolis. On June 19th, 1865, in the state of Texas, where it was believed to be the last of the enslaved people of African descent still held in human bondage, received news of their freedom and entitlement to natural-born human rights under the law, which had actually been bestowed upon them 2.5 years earlier, when President Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation, which had become official January 1st, 1863, and whereas later that year, on December 6, 1865, the 13th Amendment of the Constitution, which abolished slavery, was ratified by Congress, and whereas through other systems of oppression, such as sharecropping, Jim Crow, redlining, and mass incarceration, the plunder of black bodies and black wealth continued past slavery and persists to this day, disproportionately affecting the physical and mental health, safety, and education of black Americans. And whereas the current state of disparities is in direct correlation with the institution of slavery that continues to undergird our local and national economy, and
whereas the city has committed to deepening its work to institute policies and practices that will repair the harm experienced by people of African descent over the last 400 years as a result of the legacy of slavery and racism, and whereas the city of Minneapolis recognizes the extent of the harm done and is taking active steps to reverse and repair the harm by adopting and implementing our strategic racial equity action plan, creating an increasing systemic change to public safety responses that includes unarmed and non-police safety responses for certain emergencies and for crime prevention, passing and implementing a resolution declaring racism as a public health emergency with several policy changes, formalizing and implementing a truth and reconciliation process, building out affordable housing with historic investment, creating inclusive economic development policies, and working to improve authentic engagement and build trust between community and city officials. And whereas June 19th has since come to be known as Juneteenth and is one of the oldest celebrations in America, growing out of the experiences of black Americans and their enslaved ancestors, and is a celebration of the ending of chattel slavery in America, with the first official Juneteenth celebration taking place in Texas in 1866. And whereas Juneteenth provides an opportunity for the city to celebrate black American heritage and honor the lives, sacrifices, and contributions that are woven into the American fabric. And
Whereas on May 14th, 2021, prior to the adoption by the United States Congress the following month, the Minneapolis City Council by ordinance officially declared Juneteenth a city holiday to be honored with a paid day off for city employees and to be recognized by everyone in Minneapolis. And whereas the City of Minneapolis, in partnership with Hennepin County and the Minneapolis Park and Recreation Board, recognizes and celebrates the week of Juneteenth with activities to commemorate June 19th, 1865, and lighting of the IW-35 bridge. Now, therefore, it be resolved, the mayor and the city council do hereby honor and recognize June 19th, 2023 as Juneteenth, the National African American Independence Holiday in commemoration of the resistance and liberation of African Americans in the city of Minneapolis and in the nation. Thank you. I also want, oh, go ahead. I want to acknowledge Council President Jenkins is not here today, but her team did a great job at putting this together. So just want to acknowledge the work that they did on this. Thank you.
Thank you. I will now ask the clerk to call the roll and verify the presence of a quorum.
Councilmember Osman.
Present.
Councilmember Payne.
Present.
Councilmember Koski.
Present.
Councilmember Shugtai.
Present.
Councilmember Chavez.
Present.
Councilmember Ellison.
Here.
Councilmember Vita.
Present.
Councilmember Rainville.
Present.
Councilmember Goodman.
Present.
Councilmember Wansley.
Present.
Councilmember Johnson.
Present.
Vice President Palmisano.
Present.
President Jenkins is absent. There are 12 members present.
Let the record reflect we have a quorum. I'll also briefly note that our council president, Andrea Jenkins, is on her way back from New York City. She was accepting a Lifetime Achievement Award, the Vanguard Award, which was an honor bestowed to her by Them magazine. So she's on her way back and should be back in the office later today. Next, we have the adoption of our agenda. Colleagues, the agenda for today's meeting is before us, and I'll ask if there are any amendments to the agenda. Any amendments? Councilmember Vita.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to, the Koski and Vita movement is to amend the agenda to include under the order of motions a notice of discharge from the Budget Committee, further considering of the appointed position of the Director Partnership and Outreach in the Office of Community Safety contained in LIMS file number 2023-00480.
Thank you. Councilmember Vita adds under motions a notice to bring forward a motion at the next meeting to discharge the Budget Committee. Councilmember Chugtai.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In front of all of you is a second amendment to the agenda. I am moving to amend our agenda to include under the order of new business a legislative directive regarding temporary emergency shelter in public space during severe weather events. Thank you.
Is there any discussion on either of those? Otherwise, I would entertain a motion to adopt the agenda with both of those additions.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Councilmember Johnson, seconded by Councilmember Payne. Did I hear that correctly?
Did you?
Clerk, please call the roll.
Oh, wait, you didn't check the queue.
Oh, I'm sorry. Councilmember Wansley.
Thank you, Council Vice President. Before we take the vote on this, I actually just want the clerks to be able to provide some context for the Koski and Vita amendment, considering we took action on this to postpone to August, I think, yeah, on Tuesday at Cal. So I just wanted to get some understanding of it.
Madam President, to Councilmember Wansley's question, through the rules, the council has the ability to discharge from the committee, from any of its committees, anything that is in committee to bring it before the body. And so typically the motion can be made at a meeting, and because it's removing from the committee, it would require a 2/3 vote because it's going against the established process. However, if an advance notice is given, then at the next meeting, it becomes just a pro forma motion, and it's a majority vote to take the action. So the proposal today is to give notice so that at the next meeting, that matter can be discharged from committee and brought to council for final consideration.
Thank you for providing that clarity and also for highlighting that it will be going against the previous motion that I made to postpone this so we can have a further conversation around a comprehensive public safety plan that Commissioner Alexander, from my understanding, is supposed to be developing. So I at least want to give some clarifying context and have some of the procedural context too to help understand this a little bit better. So thank you.
Thank you. With that, clerk, please call the roll.
Oh, no.
Councilmember Chavez.
Chair Propasano, I would just move that we will move, and if the clerk can help me with the language, to vote on these two items separately.
Madam Chair, the request is to divide, I believe, the question into one vote on the Koski-Vita amendment and one on the Shugtai amendment. After that, we would vote on the agenda as amended.
Okay. We will also, just for clarity, be voting on these things once we get to them within the agenda.
Correct. This is simply a motion to put them on the agenda, and then we would discuss them when we get to them.
So then we can split this agenda, these agenda additions. Could we first please call the roll on the one that was in queue first, the Vita and Koski amendment, to add that item to the agenda, please?
Councilmember Osman.
Aye.
Councilmember Payne.
No.
Councilmember Koski.
Aye.
Councilmember Shugtai.
No.
Councilmember Chavez.
No.
Councilmember Ellison.
No.
Councilmember Vita.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Councilmember Goodman.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley.
Nay.
Councilmember Johnson.
Aye.
Vice President Palmisano.
Aye.
There are 7 ayes and 5 nays.
Thank you. That carries, and that part of the agenda, that will be added to the agenda. Second, could you call the roll on the Councilmember Chugtai amendment under new business?
Councilmember Osman.
Aye.
Councilmember Payne.
Aye.
Councilmember Koski.
Aye.
Councilmember Shugtai.
Aye.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Councilmember Ellison.
Aye.
Councilmember Vita.
No.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Councilmember Goodman.
No.
Councilmember Wansley.
Aye.
Councilmember Johnson.
Aye.
Vice President Palmisano.
Aye.
There are 10 ayes and 2 nays.
Thank you. That carries, and the agenda is adopted with both of those amendments today. The next item of business is
Madam President, we need to vote on the
now
agenda
there
as
is
amended.
the agenda as amended. Apologies. Please call the roll on the agenda as amended.
Councilmember Osman.
Aye.
Councilmember Payne.
Aye.
Councilmember Koski.
Aye.
Councilmember Shugtai.
Aye.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Councilmember Ellison.
Aye.
Councilmember Vita.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Councilmember Goodman.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley.
Aye.
Councilmember Johnson.
Aye.
Vice President Palmisano.
Aye.
There are 12 ayes.
That carries, and the agenda as amended is now adopted. The next item of business is acceptance of minutes from our regular meeting on May 25th. May I have a motion to accept those minutes? Thank you. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Osman.
Aye.
Councilmember Payne.
Aye.
Councilmember Koski.
Aye.
Councilmember Shugtai.
Aye.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Councilmember Ellison.
Aye.
Councilmember Vita.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Councilmember Goodman.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley.
Aye.
Councilmember Johnson.
Aye.
Vice President Palmisano.
Aye.
There are 12 ayes.
That carries, and those minutes have been accepted. Finally, we have the referral of petitions, communications, and reports to the proper committees. May I have that motion, please?
Second.
Thank you. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Osman.
Aye.
Councilmember Payne.
Aye.
Councilmember Koski.
Aye.
Councilmember Shugtai.
Aye.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Councilmember Ellison.
Aye.
Councilmember Vita.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Councilmember Goodman.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley.
Aye.
Councilmember Johnson.
Aye.
Vice President Palmisano.
Aye.
There are 12 ayes.
That carries, and those matters have been referred. The next order of business is reports from our standing committees, beginning with the report of our Budget Committee. That report will be presented by the committee's chair, Councilmember Koski.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. The Budget Committee is bringing forward 3 items this cycle. Item 1 is endorsing budget recommendations proposed for the Legislative Department in the 2024 supplemental budget. Items 2 and 3 are appointed positions in the City Attorney's Office and the Office of Public Service. I move approval of the Budget Committee's report.
Thank you. Councilmember Koski has moved approval of the committee's report. There is a priority motion in queue from Councilmember Chavez.
Chair Palmisano, I have a quick question for the clerk. If you can clarify how many votes were needed on the Councilmember Koski and Councilmember Vita vote, and how many votes, if you can tell me what the roll call vote was that for.
Madam Vice President, the amendment to the agenda offered by Council members Vita and Koski requires a simple majority for passage. I recorded 7 ayes and 5 nays. That being sufficient for a simple majority vote, the matter carried and was then subsequently adopted as an amendment to the entire agenda on a separate roll call where we had 12 ayes.
Thank you.
We have a couple of others in queue for the Budget Committee report. First is Councilmember Payne.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to just pull item number 2 for separate vote and discussion.
Can do. Councilmember Wansley. Councilmember Wansley?
I believe Councilmember Payne already pulled the city attorney's item, right? Yeah, thank you.
All right, then. I'll ask the clerk to please call the roll first on items number 1 and 3.
Councilmember Osman.
Aye.
Councilmember Payne.
Aye.
Councilmember Koski.
Aye.
Councilmember Shugtai.
Aye.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Councilmember Ellison.
Aye.
Councilmember Vita.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Councilmember Goodman.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley.
Aye.
Councilmember Johnson.
Aye.
Vice President Palmisano.
Aye.
There are 12 ayes.
That carries for items 1 and 3. Next, we're on to approving Budget Committee item number 2. Councilmember Payne, are you in queue to then speak with this? Thanks.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So we just honored Juneteenth today, and we are also on the eve of the Department of Justice consent decree as well. That was just reported in the news this morning. This has been a long time coming. And I want to recognize and acknowledge that our role here today is not to approve any individual, but to approve the position. But I just want to speak about the importance of this position at this moment in our city. We have come and gone through the 3-year anniversary of the murder of George Floyd. We've accepted the Minnesota Department of Human Rights settlement agreement, although that's not enforced quite yet. That's still moving through the courts before it's enforceable. And now we're on the eve of apparently Merrick Garland flying into the city of Minneapolis to dictate to us how we must function now as a city. And this position is critically important to the success of that work. And the success of that work requires of us the highest level of integrity, the highest level of trust. And it is very difficult to separate out strictly our role in approving the existence of this position and our knowledge of who could potentially be occupying that position. And I think that there has been such a significant breakdown in trust between the community and the city and our police department that it would ultimately undermine a lot of the work of this consent decree. And I'm very concerned about the path that we're on as it relates to this position. And so, although I do cerebrally have the capacity to separate out the person from the position, I can't, in my heart, support this with the knowledge that there have been foundational breakdowns in trust with this individual. And I'm trying to not make it about the person, and I'm trying to make it about the bigger picture of us marking Juneteenth, the end of slavery, and the fact that we are on the eve of a major milestone in our country's history as it relates to our broken history and broken present. And I don't want to see a broken future through how we move. So I won't be supporting this one today. Thank you.
Councilmember Wansley.
Thank you, Council Vice President. I understand that we are voting today in creating this position and that this body does not have the authority to influence who or is not appointed to this position if it's created. But that said, the city attorney's office has publicly named who they are considering for this position, being former interim MPD chief. And if I knew that there were going to be an open search for this position to find the best candidate, I would happily vote yes, but that's not what's being discussed right now. In light of that, I am going to read a quote from page 69 from the 2022 MDHR findings report that grounds my decision for not supporting this position today. The quote says, on February 2nd, 2022, MPD officers shot and killed Amir Locke, a young black man, while they were executing a no-knock warrant in Minneapolis. In a subsequent press release, MPD repeatedly referred to Mr. Locke, who was not a suspect, as a suspect, and released pictures to further paint Mr. Locke as a suspect. City and MPD leaders providing this type of inaccurate information sows community distrust, creates confusion, and undermines meaningful attempts of change. Communicating honestly with the public, especially in times of crisis, is an important part of building trust, addressing racial disparities, and strengthening the city's public safety system. I know who was in charge. All of us knew who was in charge during that time. And for that reason, I can't do the separation. And it would be crazy to do it in light of the DOJ coming tomorrow to share their investigative findings that I highly doubt would be very different from what the MDHR found, that asserted our police department has a pattern and practice of committing racist, violent, and misogynistic actions towards its residents. So I'll be voting no.
Is there any other discussion on Budget Committee Item 2? I'm not seeing anyone in queue. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Osman.
Aye.
Councilmember Payne.
No.
Councilmember Koski.
Aye.
Councilmember Shugtai.
No.
Councilmember Chavez.
No.
Councilmember Ellison.
No.
Councilmember Vita.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Councilmember Goodman.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley.
Nay.
Councilmember Johnson.
Aye.
Vice President Palmisano.
Aye.
There are 7 ayes and 5 nays.
That carries, and Item 2 is adopted. Next is the Business Inspections Housing and Zoning Committee. That report will be presented by the committee's chair, Councilmember Goodman.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. The Business Inspections Housing and Zoning Committee is bringing forward 20 items for approval this morning. Item number 1 is Chiba Hut Toasted Subs. Item number 2 are changes to our mold ordinance. Item number 3 are administrative enforcement and hearing process changes within Public Works that had to come in front of our committee. Item number 4 is a bond issuance. This is host approval. It's not us doing the bonds at 620 Olson Memorial Highway. Item 5 is an interim use permit at 2800 Pacific. Item 6 is granting an appeal with regard to a certificate of appropriateness by David Wilson at 117 to 125 First Street North. Item 7 are the liquor license approvals, and 8 are the renewals. Item 9 are the gambling license approvals. Item 10 is a legislative directed as it pertains to Class A commercial parking lots. Item number 11 is housing revenue bond approvals for an affordable housing project at 3030 Nicollet Avenue. Item 12 are amendments to our ESG supplemental rapid rehousing funding recommendations. Item 13 is waiving the underwriting standards for an affordable housing project at Emerson Village. Item 15 is a contract amendment with MPHA for stable homes, stable schools. Item number 15 is a grant application to the ASPCA Northern Tier Shelter Program. Item 16 are development terms for the Upper Harbor Terminal. Item 17 is our inclusionary zoning annual report and unified housing policy. Item 18 is a storm sewer easement between Hennepin Avenue and Fremont South. Item number 19 is a very long-awaited rezoning that came after a comp plan amendment for Little Earth so that they could move forward on their aquaponic project. And item number 17 is a rezoning for Alina Health Systems. I will move all items for approval this morning.
Councilmember Goodman has moved approval of the committee's report. There's some discussion in queue. Councilmember Payne.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd just like to pull item 4 for a separate vote.
We can pull item 4. Councilmember Ellison.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. Just wanted to speak really quickly on 2 items. One is on the mold ordinance. Just wanted to thank staff for helping and my team for working really hard to address this issue. For those of you that don't know, we can regulate moisture, but haven't been able to directly address mold in people's units. And so this ordinance is going to give Reg Services some increased tools to be able to support our residents when they're dealing with mold issues. And I just want to thank staff for all the education that they did so that I could understand the issue better, and all the help that they did in writing this ordinance. And then I wanted to also address the, so I was multitasking, so I missed the number on the item on the interim use. What item is that? Number 5, okay, got it. Item number 5, we had a lot of community members come to talk about that item, to talk about Northern Metals and the legacy of that parcel. I was really appreciative of the new owner of the parcel being receptive. I saw them exchanging cards and contact info with community members. I do think that the future of that parcel should be for public access, for public use, for community ownership. And so I'm just wanted to thank community for showing up and speaking on that item, and also just appreciate that the new owner of the item, I get that it was privately owned, it was a private sale, but that the new owner seems to be receptive to the fight that the community was in, and wants to and seems to be willing to work with the city and Northside environmental justice advocates to discuss what the future of that parcel is. So wanted to thank staff on that item as well, because they did a lot of negotiating to get that item into a better condition. So that's all.
Thank you. Councilmember Rainville.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I do want to speak, follow up on Councilmember Ellison's great praise of the staff for getting this item 5 going forward. And I have to smile. I think of Fran Gaminga and Randy Corey, who are activists in Northeast Minneapolis. And Councilmember Ellison, you're smiling too. You remember they came down to this body in the 80s and 90s and just raised complete hell over that chonderator and other metal crushing issues. So finally, after all this time, government works slowly and it should, but when it works well. And today's a great victory for all the residents along that river.
Thank you. I'll ask the clerk to please call the roll on items 1 through 3 and 5 through 20 first. So in other words, everything on the report except item number 4.
Councilmember Osman.
Aye.
Councilmember Payne.
Aye.
Councilmember Koski.
Aye.
Councilmember Shugtai.
Aye on all except item 5.
Councilmember Ellison.
Aye.
Councilmember Chavez.
No on 5, yes on the rest.
Councilmember Vita.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Councilmember Goodman.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley.
Aye on all, abstain on item number 5.
Councilmember Johnson.
Aye.
Vice President Palmisano.
Aye.
There are 12 ayes on the report except for item number 5, which also has 2 nays and 1 abstention.
Thank you. Those items carry. Next, we'll ask to call the roll on item number 4, which is the Metro Schools College Prep Bond issuance.
Councilmember Osman.
Aye.
Councilmember Payne.
Nay.
Councilmember Koski.
Aye.
Councilmember Shugtai.
No.
Councilmember Chavez.
No.
Councilmember Ellison.
Aye.
Councilmember Vita.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Councilmember Goodman.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley.
Nay.
Councilmember Johnson.
Aye.
Vice President Palmisano.
Aye.
There are 8 ayes and 4 nays.
That carries, and item 4 is also adopted. Next is the Intergovernmental Relations Committee. That report will be presented by its chair, Councilmember Johnson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have 2 items today being brought forward by the Intergovernmental Relations Committee. The first is opposition to the proposed merger of Sanford Health and M Health Fairview. And the second is the Minneapolis head and move approval of both items.
Councilmember Johnson has moved approval of the committee's report. Is there any discussion? I'm just going to add myself in queue. I wanted to make a quick mention and thank our colleague, Councilmember Koski, and also our IGR staff, Lauren Olson, for taking on this NOC position. It's a very technical position. It doesn't get a lot of attention, but there are a lot of health concerns with airplanes in our space, with air pollution in our space, and They pay attention to it all the time in the background, and we work together on airport working groups. So I just wanted to say these are kind of unsung responsibilities, and we all have a lot of them, but this is one of them. So thank you for serving in that role. Councilmember Payne.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. I just wanted to say thank you to Councilmember Wansley for bringing forward this resolution about Sanford Health and M Health Fairview. My family's had a lot of interactions with Fairview and continue to have a lot of healthcare interactions with Fairview. I want to acknowledge the nurses in the audience today. I think it would be devastating if Sanford Health and Fairview were to merge, and I'm grateful that we're acknowledging that devastation would impact our community so profoundly. So thank you.
Seeing no other discussion in queue, I'll ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Councilmember Osman.
Aye.
Councilmember Payne.
Aye.
Councilmember Koski.
Aye.
Councilmember Shugtai.
Aye.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Councilmember Ellison.
Aye.
Councilmember Vita.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Councilmember Goodman.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley.
Aye.
Councilmember Johnson.
Aye.
Vice President Palmisano.
Aye.
There are 12 ayes.
That carries, and the report is adopted. Our Policy and Government Oversight Committee is next, and that report will be presented by its chair, Councilmember Ellison.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. The Policy and Government Oversight Committee is bringing forward 20 items for approval. One is gift acceptance from the Midwest Renewable Energy Association of travel and lodging expenses. Two is a gift acceptance from the local Public Health Association of Minnesota of travel and lodging expenses. Three is capital project appropriation, bond reallocation, and revenue adjustments within the city's capital project funds, and declaration of official intent to issue bonds. Four is best value request for proposal for City Hall Restack Phase 3B Room 51 project. 5 is a bid for 2nd Street North sanitary sewer improvements. 6 is a bid for Convention Center Meeting Room 103 renovation project. 7 is a bid for medium voltage motor starter for Pump Station 5. 8 is a bid for large diameter pipe cleaning and televising. 9 is a contract with Carpal Computer Systems, Inc. for a case management software solution. 10 is a contract with Advanced Systems Integration, LLC, for audiovisual system maintenance in the Public Service Building. 11 is a contract with the City of Lakes Community Land Trust for green cost share weatherization projects. 12 is contract amendments for public towing services. 13 is contract amendment with Ram Construction Services of Minnesota, LLC, for Ramp B waterproofing and structural repairs. 14 is contract amendment with Vinco, Inc. for catch basin and manhole repairs. 15 is contract amendment with Minnesota Home Ownership Center for Home Buyer Services and Foreclosure Counseling. 16 is a contract amendment with Egan Company for Fridley Campus Electrical Construction. 17 is a contract amendment with States Manufacturing Corporation for Fridley Campus Electrical Rehab Switchgear Project. 18 is a legal settlement for Zugong versus City of Minneapolis et al. 19 is the master contracts for citywide temporary staffing services, and 20 is contracts with Hennepin Healthcare Systems, Inc. for reproductive healthcare services. And with that, I'll move approval of all items.
Councilmember Ellison has moved approval of the committee's report. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Clerks, please call the roll.
Councilmember Osman.
Aye.
Councilmember Payne.
Aye.
Councilmember Koski.
Aye.
Councilmember Shugtai.
No on item 3, aye on the rest.
Councilmember Chavez.
No on 3, aye on the rest.
Councilmember Ellison.
Aye.
Councilmember Vita.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Councilmember Goodman.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley.
Aye on all except item number 3.
Councilmember Johnson.
Aye.
Vice President Palmisano.
Aye.
There are 12 ayes on the report except for item number 3, which has 3 nays.
That carries, and the report is adopted. Next, we have the report from our Public Health and Safety Committee. That'll be presented by its chair, Councilmember Vita.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. The Public Health and Safety Committee is bringing forward 3 items. Item 1 is authorizing a site agreement with Reading and Math, Inc. to host Public Health Corps members. Item 2 is approving the appointment of the Health Commissioner, Damone Chaplin, as the city's representative to the State Community Health Services Advisory Committee, and Deputy Commissioner Heidi Ritchie as the alternate. Item 3 is authorizing additional contracts with organizations for the Partnership Engagement Fund. I'll move approval of these items.
Thank you. Councilmember Vita has moved approval of the committee's report. Is there any discussion? Councilmember Payne.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. Yeah, I just wanted to speak to, and I don't have my agenda up, so I just want to see what item number it is. the legislative directive, I believe item number, oh, I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong committee. Next committee.
We'll call on you next.
Yeah.
Is there any other discussion on the Public Health and Safety Committee? I'm not seeing any. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Osman.
Aye.
Councilmember Payne.
Aye.
Councilmember Koski.
Aye.
Councilmember Shugtai.
Aye.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Councilmember Ellison.
Aye.
Councilmember Vita.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Councilmember Goodman.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley.
Aye.
Councilmember Johnson.
Aye.
Vice President Palmisano.
Aye.
There are 12 ayes.
That carries and the report is adopted. And finally, we have the report from our Public Works and Infrastructure Committee. That report will be presented by its chair, Councilmember Johnson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Public Works and Infrastructure Committee is bringing forward 6 items today. The first item is a grant application to the USDOT for the 2023 Safe Streets for All program. The second is a concept layout approval for Green Central Safe Routes to School project. The third are Bicycle Advisory Committee appointment for Ward 6. The fourth is a Pedestrian Advisory Committee appointments for several wards. Item number 5 is the Metropolitan Council Municipal Infiltration and Inflow Grant for cured-in-place pipe lining and repair of existing sewers. And item number 6 is a partnership with Metropolitan Council on Transit Assistance Program. And I will go ahead and move the committee's full report.
Thank you. Councilmember Johnson has moved approval of the committee's report. Councilmember Payne.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. Now I'm on track. I just wanted to speak to item number 6. This is a legislative directive that I co-authored along with Councilmember Chavez. This began summer of last year, actually, with us wanting to look into what the city could do to do a fare-free pilot. It's really great to see that the state legislature stepped into this role and has passed legislation that's going to allow for that. But through our work with Metro Transit and city leadership, we identified an existing program within the Metro Transit system called the Transportation Assistance Program, which allows organizations to issue fare cards that have a discount so that it's $1 per ride. And one of the things that's really great about this program is there's a really wide eligibility and a really wide set of criteria to be eligible for it. And part of the problem is that not a lot of people know about it and not a lot of people know how to get signed up. And so I want to thank Director Nzimbi, who's in the room right now, who worked with us to help draft this up so that at the end of this process, we should be able to get people signed up within our service center for this discounted ride program, and hopefully set the work in motion to potentially get to that fare-free pilot with city leadership at the helm. But I just wanted to say thank you to Director Nzimbi, and thank you to my co-author, Jason Chavez.
Thank you. Councilmember Chavez.
Council Vice President Palmisano, I'm just also very excited about this legislative directive that we worked on with our incredible staff, especially the director of the Service Center who was with us here today, and many meetings with the Mayor's office and Public Works, along with Councilmember Payne's office. This is something we're really passionate about. And in order to increase transit ridership here in the city of Minneapolis, we need to make it affordable for all of our residents. And this is a step in the right direction to make sure that the city of Minneapolis continues its commitment to increasing ridership and affordability for all our residents.
Thank you. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Osman.
Aye.
Councilmember Payne.
Aye.
Councilmember Koski.
Aye.
Councilmember Shugtai.
Aye.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Councilmember Ellison.
Aye.
Councilmember Vita.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Councilmember Goodman.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley.
Aye.
Councilmember Johnson.
Aye.
Vice President Palmisano.
Aye.
There are 12 ayes.
That carries, and the report is adopted. That completes the reports of our standing committees. The next order of business is the notice of ordinance introductions, and there are 2 notices. The first by Councilmember Goodman to amend the zoning code, amending the site plan review standards to reference new exterior building material guidelines. The second is a notice by Councilmembers Chugtai and Osman to amend the housing code to be submitted to the voters at the November 7th, 2023 municipal election, adding a new Chapter 252 2022 providing for a rent stabilization ordinance consistent with the Framework 5 model advanced by the city's Housing and Rent Stabilization Work Group. Those notices are hereby given and no further action is required at this time. The next order of business is resolutions, and we have three.
Can you check the queue?
Oh, Councilmember Wansley.
Thank you, Council Vice President. First, I just wanted to give major thanks to Councilmember Chuckstein and Osmond. This is in regards to the notice for the rent stabilization policy. I know I've been a broken record on this, but I just want to continue echoing that we need a strong rent control policy that does not leave the most vulnerable populations behind. A policy that deregulates units between tenants, leaves thousands of renters behind, including nearly every single housing unit surrounding the U of M. A policy that exempts recent construction leaves behind tens of thousands of renters and sends the message that we think a renter who can't afford high rent doesn't deserve a new nice building. Policies with exemptions have enormous holes that working class people and their families fall through, which is how we add to the growing crisis of homelessness, displacement, and housing instability. A policy that doesn't control the rent is simply not rent control. That said, I am excited to follow the lead of both Councilmember Chucktai and Osmond in having a conversation about a rent control policy that actually controls the rent for our majority renter city.
Thank you. The next order of business is resolutions, and we had 3 honorary resolutions that were read at the beginning of today's meeting. Are there any further comments from my colleagues about those resolutions? And thank you, by the way, for the presentation of them. That went really well. I'd entertain a motion to adopt these resolutions.
Q.
Okay, let me do the
So moved.
adoption, and then I'll. Seconded? Is anybody going to second?
Second.
Thank you. Councilmember Wansley.
Thank you, Council Vice President. I want to thank my colleagues for bringing this forward. As the resolution names, Black liberation is not over. It is an ongoing daily struggle. And every single day as policymakers, we have the responsibility and authority to make choices that contribute to Black liberation or move it backwards. When Martin Luther King gave his famous speech on the white moderate, he named precisely how racism and oppression can masquerade as smiling faces and kind words. Those things aren't liberation if they don't shift power or put resources back into the hands of the Black communities in which they were stolen from. And if we are serious about the spirit of Juneteenth and being part of the continued struggle for Black liberation, that means we have to make sure that Black renters aren't subjected to price gouging from landlords. That means we have to ensure that Black residents don't see the same police officers who oversaw a racist system of policing continuously be elevated into leadership. That means we have to ensure that residents have quality housing, whether it's public, rented, or owned. We also have to ensure that small business owners, Black business owners, have access to zero interest loans. That means we also have to ensure that our Black children aren't getting asthma from living in proximity to highways and industrial polluters. Every day we have opportunities on this body to vote on the side of Black liberation or on the side of continuing a centuries-long history of oppression, violence, and theft. And I hope this resolution helps this body keep that in mind as we continue to take votes and in the coming months.
Thank you. Is there any other conversation about the resolutions? Seeing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Osmond.
Aye.
Councilmember Payne.
Aye.
Councilmember Koski.
Aye.
Councilmember Shugtai.
Aye.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Councilmember Ellison.
Aye.
Councilmember Vita.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Councilmember Goodman.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley.
Aye.
Councilmember Johnson is absent. Vice President Palmisano.
Aye.
There are 11 ayes.
That carries, and those resolutions have been adopted. Colleagues, we will now consider the 2 items that were added to our agenda at the beginning of today's meeting. First, under motions, council members Vita and Koski gave notice of their intent to bring a motion at the next regular meeting of City Council on June 28th to discharge from the Budget Committee further consideration of the request from the Office of Community Safety related to the appointed position of Director of Partnership and Outreach. That notice is hereby given. Next, under new business, I will call on Councilmember Chugtai to introduce her proposed legislative directive relating to a plan to provide temporary, safe indoor emergency shelter in public spaces during severe weather events. Councilmember Chugtai.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In front of you is a legislative directive around a temporary emergency shelter in public space during severe weather events. And it reads that we want to work with the administration. We're asking the mayor's office to present to us a review and some information around operational, budgetary, legal, and safety considerations and other factors that would be involved in a plan to provide temporary, safe indoor emergency shelter in public spaces to be made available to aid in ensuring the general health and well-being of our community during severe weather events. This summer so far, summer just began, but in the last 3 weeks, this is our second air quality emergency that we are experiencing, and health professionals around the country are telling us that it is dangerous for anybody to be outside and breathing the air outside right now. And the best way to mitigate severe health impacts at this time is to be indoors and to be in a place where there is clean air. Unfortunately, we live in a world where that's not possible for everybody, and there are lots of barriers to people having safe spaces to be indoors right now, whether it's our unsheltered homeless population, which is the easiest that one might think of in this category, but there's also people who live in communities or housing that doesn't have proper ventilation, doesn't have proper HVAC systems, and so we need just safe spaces for people to be. I think that we need to take urgent action here, and we're not entirely sure exactly what that looks like yet. And so that's why we're starting by bringing forward a legislative directive for this body to consider. The intent here is for us to be working with other jurisdictions, for us to be beginning the work of taking emergency preparedness around climate crises more seriously. And to share the work that we are already doing. Some of this is moving already within the administration in public so that residents have increased awareness and insight into how we are preparing for these types of crises and also how they can access them. The intent here is creative solution seeking and could result in things like this body authorizing uses of certain buildings or outdoor space or city-owned space. It could look like us authorizing the use of contingency funds. We don't quite know exactly what it looks like yet. But again, we are beginning that work and we're trying to move as urgently as we can, knowing that again, our second air quality concern or air quality alert in the last 3 weeks. There will probably be more throughout the summer, along with extreme heat and in the winter, extreme cold. I'm excited to be working with our administration on this so far, and we'll continue to do that. I see Deputy Director Ritchie in the audience here today. We've talked like 4 times since yesterday evening about different actions the city can be taking and how we can help increase the general health and well-being of residents in Minneapolis. We've had preliminary conversations with the Minneapolis Park and Recreation Board, the Minneapolis Public Schools, and with Mayor Fry on moving something like this forward. So apologize for bringing an item like this at the last minute, but wanted to share some context about why we're doing this and what comes next. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody else wish to speak to this item? I know that Deputy Commissioner Ritchie is available if there are questions. I did want to share a little bit of the conversations that I've had this morning with other city staff. I know that Minneapolis, as a supporting, operational supporting funder, is working with the county, who's the owner of an RFP, to ask for additional nighttime and daytime centers to be operated in the near future. I appreciate Councilmember Chugtai's interest in adding air quality to those needs of emergencies. in speaking with our emergency management and our health department, I want to point out that shelters are largely a county function, and that we've all seen, whether it be in somewhat fragmented ways that could be communicated clearer, different kinds of cooling centers or warming centers. When we open up our public buildings, some of those have been school buildings, some of those have been county buildings, some of those have been city buildings in the past. So I appreciate that this could be a better coordinated function. Having this come back on in the very next cycle at Committee of the Whole is pretty aggressive, but there's a lot that we're already doing that I think we could communicate better already, and for us to be thinking about this as we move forward right away. So I think we can all go ahead and move in support of this. Are there any other questions or comments from my colleagues on this item?
Need a second.
Oh, I'm sorry. Councilmember Chugtai has moved to approve the legislative directive. Is there a second? Seconded. Seeing no one else, clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Osmond.
Aye.
Councilmember Payne.
Aye.
Councilmember Koski.
Aye.
Councilmember Chugtai.
Aye.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Councilmember Ellison.
Aye.
Councilmember Vita.
No.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Councilmember Goodwin.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley.
Aye.
Vice President Palmisano.
Aye.
There are 10 ayes and 1 nay.
That carries, and the legislative directive is adopted. Colleagues, we do have a request for closed session today. Before we move to closed session, I'd like to take up any announcements first. Do council members have any announcements to share this morning? Councilmember Ellison.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. Not really an announcement, but this was the only real platform to make this comment. A couple of weeks ago, we had a very, I think, passionate and needed debate on the merits of rent stabilization. And during that debate, people have their positions. I certainly have mine. Other colleagues have very informed positions. But there was a moment where I was responding to my colleague, on the north side, Latricia Vita, and I felt like my response, parts of my response fell short of the standard that I hold for myself and how I address other colleagues. And so, Councilmember Vita and I have talked about it behind the scenes. We've made amends behind the scenes, but I figured that because the fallout was loud and public, I felt like making amends in public was also warranted and necessary. And so, we're going to disagree on the issue. We're always going to debate the issue, but we're also going to make sure that we do it with respect, and I want to make sure that you know that that's my commitment to you, and so yeah, so that's all I wanted to say. I hope that we can all sort of remember. I think that some of the rules of decorum, we can always look. We're going to have passionate moments on this dais, and I think we can all be gracious with each other. But I also think it's okay and it's appropriate for us to make sure that we acknowledge, especially myself and Councilmember Vita, that we work on behalf of the North Side, that we're working together, that we're committed to working together. And so that's all I wanted to say. And thank you for giving me a moment to speak.
Thank you. Councilmember Vita.
Thank you, Councilmember Ellison. The North Side definitely does not need us fighting, and we've made up. We're fine. We were never really fighting. You said what you said. I said what I said. It's fine. But I do appreciate you acknowledging that, it maybe got a little, not out of control, but it was a little harsh. But thank you. I appreciate you. I love working with you. The North Side needs the both of us. We don't have to be on the same page, but we definitely have to be doing our best. Thank you.
Councilmember Rainville.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would just like to announce that the revival of downtown Minneapolis continues this weekend with the Stone Arch Bridge Festival of the Arts. I would invite all of our citizens and their friends in the suburbs to come down and enjoy the wonderful riverfront in Minneapolis and the creative arts community that we're so proud of here. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you. I'll note that it's Minneapolis Public Schools' last day of school for most students. Some have school tomorrow, but I want to thank everybody for a great year. And maybe that's good news, and maybe that's scary news for all the parents out there that have to find something for their children to do for the rest of the summer. But with that, we've completed the regular items on our agenda, and we'll now consider the request for a closed session, which is one litigation matter as listed on the agenda. Before I move to close the meeting, I'll recognize our city attorney to provide the legal basis for the requested closed session.
Thank you, Council Vice President Palmisano. I'll admit that it is a bit scary for me. the start of something. The next item on the agenda is the case of Smith and O'Beary versus the City of Minneapolis. It is an active litigation in state court, and your lawyers wish to discuss with you settlement possibilities in this matter. Accordingly, under the Minnesota Open Meeting Law, Minnesota Statutes, Section 13D.05, Subdivision 3B, the council may, upon a proper motion, close the meeting for the purposes of attorney-client communications. In considering this motion, the council should weigh the right of the public to know what its government is doing against the need of the city to preserve the confidentiality of its discussions with its legal counsel.
Thank you, Mr. Nelson. With that, I move that our public meeting be closed as authorized under the provisions of the open meeting law, specifically Minnesota Statutes Section 13D.05, Subdivision 3B, for the purpose of discussing the litigation matter of Smith and O'Beary versus City of Minneapolis. May I have a second to that motion?
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember Vital. The clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Osman.
Aye.
Councilmember Payne.
Aye.
Councilmember Koski.
Aye.
Councilmember Shugtai.
Aye.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Councilmember Ellison.
Aye.
Councilmember Vital.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Councilmember Goodman.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley.
Aye.
Vice President Palmisano.
Aye.
There are 11 ayes.
That carries, and we will now close the public portion of our meeting and convene in closed session. For the viewing public, I will note that the broadcast of this meeting will continue, and the council will reconvene in public after we have concluded the closed session. Thank you. Should I call back? We're good. Colleagues, the time is now 11:17, and the City Council has reconvened in open session following our closed session. I'll ask the clerk to call the roll and verify a quorum.
Councilmember Osman.
Present.
Councilmember Payne.
Present.
Councilmember Koski.
Present.
Councilmember Shugtai.
Present.
Councilmember Chavez.
Present.
Councilmember Ellison.
Here.
Councilmember Viton.
Present.
Councilmember Rainville.
Present.
Councilmember Goodman.
Present.
Councilmember Wansley.
Present.
Vice President Palmisano.
Present.
There are 11 members present.
Thank you. I see no discussion in the queue. There's a motion by Councilmember Vital. Would you like to go ahead and present that motion?
Thank you, Madam Vice President. I move that the City of Minneapolis make the following payments in conjunction with the settlement of claims asserted by Brian Smith in the litigation matter of Smith and O'Berry versus the City of Minneapolis. One check in the amount of $73,325 payable to Brian Smith, for which the city will issue a Form W-2. One check in the amount of $20,000 payable to Brian Smith, for which the city will issue a Form 1099 miscellaneous. One check in the amount of $6,675 payable to Brian Smith's attorney, Smith Law, for which the city will issue a Form 1099 miscellaneous to each of Brian Smith and his attorney. And a payment of the city's share of Brian Smith's health insurance premiums through July 2023, contingent upon Brian Smith first paying his share of health insurance premiums through July 2023. I further move that the City of Minneapolis agree to provide 1 week of paid leave to Brian Smith during the statutory recession period, and to permit Mr. Smith to use accrued sick time and vacation leave for the remaining portion of the recession period and at his election. I also move further that the City of Minneapolis agree to a partial release of claims against Brian Smith in exchange for payment by Brian Smith in the amount of $774. The City Attorney's Office is authorized to execute all documents necessary to effectuate the settlement. Thank you, Madam Vice President.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
That motion has been seconded. The clerk, please call the roll on the motion for settlement.
Councilmember Osman.
Aye.
Councilmember Payne.
Aye.
Councilmember Koski.
Aye.
Councilmember Shugtai.
Aye.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Councilmember Ellison.
Aye.
Councilmember Vital.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Councilmember Goodman.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley.
Aye.
Vice President Palmisano.
Aye.
There are 11 ayes.
That motion carries. With that, colleagues, we've completed our business today. Thank you for being patient with me as I chair this meeting in Council President's absence. And with nothing further to come before the Council, and without objection, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
We're getting them ready for adoption. I probably am doing about 20 animal surgeries, and I'm probably working with a total of 100 or more animals each week. Oh, such a good girl. Hey, Mama. This mom I'm in love with.